a season with a commanding 120-100 win over the Portland Trailblazers. We are live on Locked On Live for you on Instagram, on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, as well as on Locked On Sports on Periscope as well. Join us each and every night after the ball game. This is an interactive show. We used to do it with Ron Boone, but Ron has to go to TV, so instead it's just me interacting with you on our live chat rooms and having you about the show. So feel free to jump in any of your thoughts and your questions. Dominating performance by the Jazz, both offensively and defensively tonight in everything that they did. They set a franchise record for most threes in a regular season, in a regulation game with 50 of them tonight. Or where's my official box score? They took 50 of them tonight, making 19. They started slow tonight. They fell behind 13-6. Quinn had to take a timeout. By the end of one, they were up 32-25. The offensive rating was a 125 at the end of one. The defense was equally as good at that point. They had a 98 defensive rating. Then the Jazz blew it out. They're up 65-44 at the half with a 131 offensive rating at that point. And at that point, Dame Lillard is scoreless at the half in this game and doing unbelievable job defensively. The Jazz, CJ McCollum was 1 of 6 in that quarter. And by the time we head to the fourth quarter, the Jazz lead at 94-68 in complete control of this ball game and the win. Offensive rating of 127, defensive rating of a 92. And that's really where we stood at that point. And that ball game was over. First comments coming in from the chat room today. Love the shot distribution. Let's look at it. According to Cleaning the Glass tonight, the official numbers from the Jazz tonight, 34% of their shots at the rim and 52% of their shots as threes. I mean, that's it. Only 14% of the Jazz shots were mid-range shots. We've talked about 40-40-20 a lot. 40% at the rim is impossible in this league right now. Teams are defending the rim too much. You cannot get to the rim. And so you're going to have to take threes instead. Last year, the Jazz fell victim to taking that short little mid-range floater all the time. Tonight, only 4% of their shots were classified as long twos, 52% of their shots as threes, 34% of their shots at the rim. So 86% of their shots were smart shots tonight in the ballgame. The game, at some point, we'll have blowout time into that one as well on Cleaning the Glass, but that's a pretty good number. Let's go get some of the questions on the line. Was Dame just off, or did RD do something to take him out of his game? I think a little bit of both. Let me say I was on the Zoom with Dame earlier in the week, and he did clearly have the sniffles. In fact, one of the reporters asked him if he was under the weather at that point. He downplayed it, said that was not a big issue. But on the other end of things, I would say the Jazz ran another guy at him. They broke his rhythm. They took the ball out of him. When he came off the double stagger, they blitzed with the first guy. So the Jazz did a lot of different things defensively in that game to dislodge his rhythm. The thing that I think the feeling was, talking to some of the people around the Jazz before the ball game, was if you go back and look, Dame was taking 20 shots a game last year in a ball game, but against the Jazz in the last two matchups, he took 29 and 30. So it wasn't so much that, you were going to slow down Dame like this, but you couldn't have him take 29 or 30 shots in the game the way he did a year ago. And I think that's what the Jazz really wanted to take out. And they certainly did that. Dame only ended up playing 34 minutes, going 4 of 12, 1 of 7 from 3 on that. All right, let's go over to another Twitch. Rudy's short roll passing reads seem higher level than I remember. Do you agree? I think this is a little bit of just experience, right? Like when you think about the best there are in the game, they've done it a lot of times. We opened up the broadcast today talking about how Dame's run over 20,000 pick and rolls in the NBA and Donovan's run 6,000. So, you have like Rudy's doing this more and more and begins to understand it more and more. And yes, his passing was better tonight. He had 2 assists. The Jazz actually ended up assisting, for all the 3-point shooting. The number that should matter to us is tonight the Jazz assisted on 13 of their 19 3-point makes. So they had 13 catch and shoot threes. Yesterday, and Rudy's, those 2 assists by Rudy are both 3-pointers. So that's where you're talking about the short roll read by Rudy. You're absolutely right. Last year, the Jazz were the number 1 3-point shooting team on catch and shoot threes, but they were like 21st or 22nd in attempts. And so that's why the Jazz had to make those changes. Patrick Malone, can you please have the Jazz put the great interview by Craig Bolerjack with Ryan Smith online? Yeah, you bet. Let's have them do that. You're absolutely right, Patrick Malone. Because you know why? I didn't get to see it either, and I want to see what it has to say. So I'm right there with you. You bet I want Bowler's interview with Ryan Ashley Smith. Congratulations to Ryan Ashley Smith. First NBA win. It's always this easy. I promise. I lie. Here's the question of the night from Mitch Lund. Do you feel the Blazers were just off tonight? I do have a feeling, listening to Locked On Blazers with Mike Richmond all week, and I'll just give him credit, not trying to plug, just trying to give him credit. And then talking to Terry Stotts today, that they're in a funky place. So they are trying to change their defense. They were 27th in the league defensively last year, and they are changing their defense with a very short preseason. And I'm not sure that's the greatest idea I've ever heard. And I think that they weren't good against Denver in the preseason, changing that defense either. So there's a concern for them. Now, the other thing is they should be great offensively, and our defense was super. So it kind of goes both ways here. Like, I'll buy that 53s and Portland's off and they're not quite at the top of their game and integrating new people. And I also think Robert Covington's like generally overrated in the league. I think he's Jay Crowder and not as physical. So I'm not as in love with Robert Covington as some other people are. But his shooting percentage is basically Jay Crowder's, and he does some neat things, and he was unique in Houston because he played 77% of his minutes last year at center. So that's weird, and it became it. But I'm just not sure that he changes them that much. So I don't know, really, is the answer to your question. I don't think we're 20-point blowout better than Portland all year long. So I think there's a little bit of that. What a different strategy by the Jazz. Like it a lot. My favorite moment of the night is I was talking to Kevin Pelton on the drive-in, ESPN expert, because of the fact that Pelton usually does my stats, and I actually have like no friends, and all of my friends, Bowler can attest to this. Bowler's over here. He's going to laugh when I say this. This is for Bowler to laugh. So I have no friends in real life. What I have is all my NBA friends who I see on the road all the time. That's my social circle. I don't have other friends. I work and I'm friends with. Right, but you have to be with me and travel with me. We didn't see this year. Everyone had the excuse, sorry, David, there's COVID. We can't get together in the off season. So my social life is seeing all these people on the road, and now I can't see them. So I've decided that every day on someone I would have lunch with, I'll just call them during lunch. So I called Kevin Pelton today and talked to them. And I was like, Pelton, we're trying to get up 53s a night. And he's like, so when we took our 50th three, I sent Pelton a text that said 50. And Pelton responded with the greatest response ever, which was, you love to see it. Because Kevin Pelton's the one who's always said, take the amount of threes you're taking and take 5 more and see what happens, and then take 5 more and see what happens, and then take 5 more. And if you look at what we've done, we took 35 last year, we took 41 in the bubble, and then we took 5 more. So I think that's a lot of what we're doing. All right, final questions. All right. Seems like a good cause. Hey, Locke, don't forget to tell people to follow Anti-Racist Jazz. How about Ryan Smith? Those comments were awesome. You have to love that. How was Donovan's off-the-bounce 3 tonight? Not good. I think he was 0-4 on the off-the-bounce 3 tonight. Donovan ended up shooting 4 of 10 from 3. Might have hit 1 off the bounce. I think they were all catch and shoots. Sean Gilmore's going all in, 27-1 for a championship. How do you feel about Boo Boo Barkley betting $100K on his Blazers winning the West? That got the minute he said that, and like you knew that they were in serious trouble. Jazz junkies worried about the national media right out of the chute. They've slept on the Jazz and disrespected. We have not been disrespected. We have done absolutely nothing to be talked about until, let's see, right? Like, let's be honest. Christian Stewart says Jordan Clarkson was fabulous. 6th man of the year if he keeps it up. He was. He changed the game. Jazz Junkie says 11th on defense last year, 15 minutes of Bradley letting everyone score, replaced with Favors, top 5. If we're top 5 defense and we're top 5 offense, we'll be that good every night. That is Locked Postcast. Thanks for your interaction. Thanks for jumping on. That's how we're doing it this year. You're a huge part of the show, so make sure you jump aboard. I'll try to get to more questions every single night. I want to do about 10 minutes. I don't know how long we did tonight, but I'm thinking that's about it. Talk to you soon. Have a great one. Thanks for tuning in.